question about this first. Okay. Catherine, I talked about this before. This, what we're going to hand out to this, all the homes, is very good. I just question what we're calling it, because I don't want to give any ammunition to the naysayers on it. The cost savings is right. What we did here in this first column, I really call it cost reduction. Since you call this cost reduction, here I call it cost reduction. That's what everybody refers to as reduction. Cumulative savings, it's not really a cumulative savings. Because you cut out the first year, you're avoiding the cost for the next 4 years. Difference between a savings and an avoidance of cost. It's additional cost avoidance for the next 4 years. You avoided that cost because you took it out in year 1. Because you're not budgeting that cost the next year and then taking it out again and say it's a savings. Just think about a suggestion is how you word this, because people who are deep in business will come back and say that's not really a savings because you get it your first year, you avoid it in the coming years. But it's important. It's a number that's very important. And you should say additional cost avoidance in years 3 through 6, or whatever. You should keep that column. I was just making you think of how you word that column head. Because some people will challenge that, say it's not a savings. Because they'll say in 2006 your budget was $54 million, so I'm looking for $15 million less. So your budget now is 30, whatever. So just don't give any ammunition.
And that's a good point. And the thing that people need to keep in mind is cost of living has increased. Think of your gas prices since 06. And today, oh my gosh, it's clearly doubled. We put 72 buses on the road every day of the school year. 72 buses every day of the school year. And we've absorbed that cost increase. So you make a good point.
It's a very good number.
It's an important number because also in that, when this board took their seats, they inherited a 4-year contract with all the employees. They gave a 2.95% increase every year, plus longevity steps for an average of, between 5 and 6% increases in salary. Yet look at the salary numbers in the actual years. They're the same. But how did we do that? Well, we let go of positions that were salary paid, and again, those are savings, or we're open for suggestions because you don't want to blame it.
Right. Doing this is $120,000. You save that the first year. The next 4 years, you avoided that cost. Okay. So you show that in the next column. That's not $600,000. It's an additional $380,000 or whatever in that.
So would you say? You say for the past 4 years we've saved.
You avoided this. You avoided it's a cost avoidance. Yeah, exactly. Because it's not really savings. You're not taking it out of the budget. So it's just semantics, but it gives people and whoever is in business to say that. Exactly. But it's important though. Businesses use it all the time.
This is so political and semantics are so incredible.
It is.
It's just like my forecast. It's a state's format, it's not mine. I have to file it like that. And the salary, caption is called personal services, PERSONAL. And I've been lambasted because I don't know how to spell personnel.
Right.
It's not mine.
I know how it's not mine.
But you're right, it's semantics and it's something people can pick us apart about, so.
I just want to say that I know everyone has said for how many years, the economy is not good. Really, people are still eating out. You still look at Stow Macy's, even though the rest of Stow is dead, but Stow Macy's is packed, Target's packed, Kohl's are packed. People are still spending money, and that's what I think even naysayers or positive people need to avoid talking about the economy, because it is not, I know they say, oh, it's in the toilet, but really, people are still going out. That's the thing we have to look for. And I was just going to say, too, a lot of people say, oh, look, we're hurting. Not everyone is hurting. I'm not saying I'm like rolling in cash, but I have felt some squeeze, and I've been more cautious, but I haven't we're still eating out. We're still, what I'm saying. And I just shared with Dr. Jones another point about the Stow TV channel. You know how the city of Stow, yes, I think that's a great way to advertise because you can type up.
You can't use it.
You
You
can't?
can't use it, it's only for the city issues.
Well, but Karen is on our side, right? And so maybe we can ask her. Karen, the mayor, endorsing the levy.
I know,
right?
but that was brought up before, and it's not, that there are certain regulations on how
Okay.
that station can
Okay.
be used.
So it's just worth checking out,
It
you
is
never know.
It is a political,
It is a political.
Right, right.
And you make a good
I try.
point. Someone at one of these meetings said, yeah, there's a 8% unemployment rate. That means there's 92% people still working.
Right.
So we need to,
Thankfully.
put our focus on that and step through this because there's never been 100% employment anyway.
Right.
so, Mr. Bonacci,
Yes.
your thoughts as a candidate for school board, say you get elected, I mean, what, or how do you see the impact of these changes?
Well, if it doesn't pass me,
Yeah.
well, like I said, I've been here for 45 years. I've been here when this happened, when it got crazy, we cut out busing. Students transferred from Stow to Falls and other schools. Obviously, you don't want that to happen for athletics or whatever reasons. Obviously, it takes money out of the district, on top of that, when students transfer out. It'll be horrendous. I mean, people who haven't experienced this, I've done it twice, I think in 45 years, how bad it's gotten. It gets to town, you get the town's bad now, it's getting worse. Just about traffic, you wouldn't even want to go anywhere near these schools for people trying to get their kids to school and back and so forth. I think the woman who left here, your wife, hit it right on. She said, and it's always been that way. You got 40%, it's going to always vote for Levy. You got 40%, no matter what you do, they'll never vote for it. They're angry people. They don't believe in pay it forward. When either their kids were here or they went to school here. It's a 20%. You got to sway 10%, 12% of that 20 to come over. I throw a suggestion out. Green, I kind of think Green school district, very similar to Stow. Kind of size-wise. They just passed their 6.7 mil levy. And a couple of guys who I work with go to Green, live in Green. And I said, how did you guys make this happen? Because they were in the same position we were. So they were one step ahead. They have already failed, and they said, if this one that fails, it's 48 teachers, it's this, that, and that, just like what we're going to talk about in the classroom. What did you do? What did they do? Well, it's what we're talking about, getting out of community. At the polling spots, they were teachers, they were parents at every polling spot in that town as people were going in with, signs, cheering, whatever. The school did everything possible we could. He said, I think that's what helped us get the community, the teachers, and the faculty, and his kids, and the voters. All the people that are for it got involved, heavily involved. And when I was in previous years, that's how we got it passed, when it got really bad. That's how we got it.
Right now, are you optimistic that issue 20 will pass?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I hear more about it now than I've ever heard about it before. In August, we had it last time, didn't hear much about the levy.
Stow.
People weren't talking. You see it a lot on the websites, whether it's negative or positive, people are talking about it. I think you're hearing it, you're hearing the grocery, people talking, you go out with your friends, people are talking about it. So if they're talking about it, they become a little bit more aware of what's going on. I think, I'm optimistic this time. God forbid I don't want to fail.
Yes.
Because,
Amen.
it's,
Then we all fail.
well, yeah, it's,
Mrs. Benny?
I've talked to a lot of people. I know Chet knows who I am, I think. I was a former employee in the school district for a little over 34 years. I've seen a lot of things happen in the past 10, 15 years since my children have graduated. I have three that have graduated, and one in 82 and two in 84. And things gradually went downhill as far as I was concerned, a lot of ways. And a lot of people are talking about the board, and I'm not going to demeanor you. What I'm saying is the board is not upfront with the people. You ask for more information, and it's been said, and well, we can't talk about it now, or come down to the board office, and we've done that to even myself.
I guess the
But
question.
that is our format, I mean, that is what
I
we
know,
are.
but let me put it this way.
Before we get to that, the question really was, what impact can you see if the levy
Well,
doesn't pass?
I said this, and I confronted Catherine Holgren, because I've attended, as you know, all of your meetings.
Sure.
And I have said since day one, when I saw that sheet come out, that you cannot tell me that this cumulative savings is accurate. And if the people, if you're not upfront with the people, because I'm gonna ask you, if we saved all this money, where did it go?
Well,
If we saved this money, where did it go?
It stayed out of the classroom, for one thing. We could have been probably at this point, maybe 40
But
teachers
then,
gone.
this is what people are asking.
That's it, well, that's our answer. We saved the money and we were able to, our main goal was to stay out of the classroom,
okay,
period.
I really
That's it.
want to keep on
Okay.
the same thing, because there's two questions.
It's terrible
It's-
because
well,
I really
what do
support
you
the
see?
sports and the clubs
Mrs.
and
Benny,
the
the
busing.
question is, what do you see the impact being of the levy not passing?
Right now, you have a number of students, and I don't know the exact figure, but I've talked to a lot of parents who have pulled their kids out of Echo Hills because of the IB program. I disagree with the program intently. I disagree with the cost of it. And
Look.
this is what I'm hearing from
But
people.
the question is, what do you see?
The impact this levy is not going to pass.
Okay.
And the people are going to get so irate with the present board, the present administration, that they're going to be horrendous. I mean, they're just going to be, I can't even think of a word for it.
Okay, what's
The
the-
last time you got any money was in 2002, my son was a kindergartner, and now he's a freshman. We make him cry.
And I want to see it finished because I was the first graduating class of that high school, and he deserves every opportunity. I know you agree. But what's so frustrating is these people do not understand. It's $16, and what's the change?
77
For
cents.
God's sakes.
$100,000 house. I know my house has gone down in value, we've all got the same thing, but it's just very frustrating.
Can I just say one
Because
thing?
I don't think it's gone down at all. I think the schools are amazing.
I can completely agree. And
Sorry.
it hasn't passed since my son's been in preschool and he's a fifth grader. I really find it hard to believe that people out there don't see the cuts. How can you not believe this when you think this district has made it for not, I don't know, I'm a teacher. I've worked in 2 different districts, not in this one. I have never seen a district stretch their money as well as this district has. Look around the communities around here, because Munroe has got a 10.0 levy, and they just passed a levy not too long ago. I just find it so hard to believe there's people out there that can actually say this isn't true. They have stretched their money beyond stretched their money, 9 years.
I'm talking about the cumulative savings. It's an exaggeration because the budget goes from this year to this year to this year, and you stated the same thing. Your budget includes what money you have this year, next year it's this amount of money. You can't, the
The
big,
gas prices
the big
have gone
word that
up.
was said to me at the previous meeting, if. If is a very big word.
I don't think I referred to it as wrong, it's
No.
how we want to get.
I
The
think
word
it's-
exactly is.
I think the 7.9 is absolutely accurate, and I commend all of you.
However you
And
understand it, you want it in this form or that form.
it's just-
We had to do it now.
Okay,
We
so,
had to do it now.
Yeah, that's
okay, so in all fairness,
Money's just getting
it's
spread
fine.
to other areas.
It's fine.
I'm just saying, go out, I challenge all of you, go out and talk to the people.
We
Go out and
have.
talk,
We have.
and ask why, how they feel. Ask
We
them.
have.
We do.
Why don't they
We're
ask
all
us
here.
how
I
they
need one
feel?
text message yesterday. I
Okay.
have 10 people here.
I want
Because
to,
that's how much we support the schools. Last night at 9 o'clock, and they're all here.
I have one more question for both of you, and, I mean, what is, we'll start, we'll come back to you to answer the 2 questions. You don't believe the levy's going to pass. You do. If you're elected as a school board member, what is it that you want to do to try and keep it from you're running for school board for a reason.
Right.
If you are elected, you believe the levy is going to pass, and let's just assume that it does, but what is it that you want to do once you're elected?
Assume the levy has passed, absolutely. But I think even if the levy passed, based on even Catherine's 5-year plan is, we're not on solid financial ground, even if the levy passes. I still think you gotta do more or less. You can't get caught up with the levy passed, now we're gonna start spending again and not be as careful. I met with the SDA earlier this week. That was an experience. But it was good, it was good. But what I told them, Catherine, they may come back to haunt you, as I said, if I get elected to the board, I will be the biggest thorn in your side because I will ask for more financial information from you than probably anybody ever has. Because I gotta understand, but see, that's what it's all about. I gotta understand and look for ways, you gotta do more
Well,
with less.
because you would be have represented us. She would
That's
have
exactly,
represented
I'm
us, right?
representing, because I don't want another levy in 2 years if you want it, so obviously you gotta look at it, so that's what I would do. Look at it every dime we have, and make sure we don't
Just
spend
to
it
let you
wisely.
know, if you're elected, we will sue the levy.
I just would like to see more accountability, more than we have. I've asked personally a lot of questions, and I get this response: we have no documentation, or we have no records, or that sort of thing. So how can, and I'm not going to go into detail, this is
No,
not
it's not the
for
place
the
for it,
board.
but that's okay.
The thing of it is, if somebody asks for something that you say, we're doing this, you should have the documentation to support it. You should have the documentation to support it. And that is a very strong point, coming from this board, this treasurer, this superintendent, and all the board members. I mean, that's it.
I have to state, because as a board member, we put people in positions that have the degrees, that are experienced, that know what they need. Do you have any idea what academic excellence is and what it takes to get there? Do you have any
I've
idea
seen-
what the audit takes? When Catherine has to go through audits, how many times a year? Just a question. These are not people coming from off the street saying, oh, yeah, I didn't try
I
that.
have a daughter that has 3 master's degrees. But
That's
you know what?
wonderful. She went to Stow High School, didn't
That's
she?
right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Amen.
And you know what? She got an excellent education, but she didn't do it by herself, and she also was in.
None of her teachers are.
I didn't say that. I said her teachers were very formidable.
Hey, listen, guys, this is Betty, has the floor here. Good question.
They were very formidable in her education, but it also came from her parents that made her study, that made her do what she was doing. And it also came from her because she's the type of perfectionist that she is.
So why is that a bad reflection of?
I didn't say
what you
that. But
said
our
the
schools
school
were
system-
excellent then, they've been excellent since 2006. They've been excellent since then, and we've had levies, failures, and everything else. So it doesn't downgrade our educational system. That's not what we're doing.
But isn't-
Have you ever put one of these sheets together? That's my question.
I am not.
Well, it's blatantly obvious, I just wanted to hear you say no.
I am not a Catherine Baldwin. And I
Neither am I, but I run a
want to
business
find
and I've
out.
had to make these sheets for myself.
But
And
I
if there's
am-
not enough money to run my business, then I can't run my business.
One of the things we gotta be concerned about is this levy fails, these teachers have sacrificed this last contract. Okay, 2 years from now, some of these younger teachers, how long will they stay in this district before they move out and look for jobs?
From
So-
my perspective, if they start cutting teachers, they're gonna cut from the newest hires towards the oldest hires. The older teachers are gonna be retired as time goes on. I mean, we're gonna run into a major.
And if we don't offer those excellent programs and those extracurriculars, you're gonna see a mass exodus. I don't want my kids to be around in a place where there's not those opportunities. My 2 older ones have been blessed with the knowledge and the extracurriculars that are getting them the scholarships that have saved us thousands of dollars. So
Exactly.
I think that is so important, that core education is the most. You have those extracurriculars to get that edge. That's what you need.
I agree.
You know, years ago, we had, the teachers had a buyout to get rid of the high paying cost. Why haven't we even thought of doing, give them some money, and I believe it was $30,000. It's been some years ago, and they paid him 3 years.
And
If I understand.
I personally deeply resented that buyout offer. I really did. I
But
thought that was in front of the
But it's
taxpayers.
teachers that are getting ready to retire. They
I don't
have the
care.
number
They
of
can
years.
retire if they want to.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Gebbia,
they can-
do you know how many teachers we still have on our rolls that were eligible then to take that buyout and they're still here? What happened is your teachers with lesser experience in our district but had it somewhere else got the buyout. You're still paying top dollar for the highest senior teachers because they get the highest pay, and you paid out additional money for teachers with lesser seniority. Those senior teachers are still here today, and we don't have the extra purse to hand out a buyout.
Right, but we also have a lot of teachers that have retired and 2 weeks later or so, or even 3 months later when they retire in June, we retire them back in September.
When do we-
It's happened.
I think what you'll get is the teachers that are close to retirement will leave before 2015 anyway, with the ST and the rules still kicking in anyway. So if they're gonna retire, they're gonna go before 2015, why should we pay for it?
Exactly.
Okay, do you guys want to stay on the subject now, or can we move
No.
on?
I think this is real.
It's not about, this isn't about Casey, let's talk about this.
Does anybody else want to stay on the subject? I don't want to take away from it. Okay, are there any questions about the reductions, the closings and reductions, or the impact it's going to have at this point? Anything else? I mean, it's open forum, feel free to ask questions.
You know, one thing I've heard going to a couple of these meetings is a lack of trust in the superintendent, the treasurer, the board, or whatever. And I certainly trust you, I'm not saying I don't. But the thing that kind of comes back to me a lot of times is, I've watched the district labor unions. I've never seen a union take a pay cut if they believed the situation was much better than the people in charge were presenting it to be. So the fact that they took no pay increase, increased their health insurance costs, I mean, as you're talking with people, never have I seen anybody take less than what they thought the district could afford. So the fact that they had access to that information, their people looked at it and made that agreement, to me, that speaks volumes. So even if you didn't believe everybody over there, I would certainly trust the union to make a good decision.
Three, I think, in this room. 3 or 4 in this room.
That were at the table.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you.
It was a huge, especially the steps. I mean, giving out a step to anybody, and that's more than your salary increase. That's
Because you know
huge.
those unions bring their finance experts in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You hold
I
them
do it
back.
with the university too, yeah, I know, they do not
Yeah.
take a dime less than they think is available.
And we didn't have that.
And I have no connection to the district, but my concern was if it goes to arbitration and gets drug out, then you also affect the kids with it. Plus you increase the cost of that contract phenomenally, I'm sure. I know our lawyers work for next to nothing.
When you do a buyout, there's you to pay their severance, and right now, I just ran numbers for my forecast, and those that are eligible right now, if they all left us, it's over $500,000. And then, on top of that, you would do the buyout, and you would pay that over several years, which we don't have several years of the line to deal with that. So it's something we have looked at. Dr. Jones and I have constantly been looking at what we can do to hold down costs. Whatever it takes, that's what we're doing. And we spend a lot of time on that. And we have disagreements about that as well. I'm sure Dr. Jones wanted to talk for a buyout. That's a beautiful way for people to step up and get them to move on. We do not have the resources to do that. We keep functioning on the same budget we've had since 2002 and have continually taken cost increases and absorbed them and let people go. Let people go, cut down expenses. We did negotiations on our utilities, and I think this is huge. Pat Matthews and Denny Mariola were both involved in these negotiations. This past year and the year prior, we paid pre-2004 costs for our utilities. Pre-2004 costs. That's because of the tough negotiations that we sit eye to eye with people and make them ante up because we are a school district and we need them to help also give
Yeah,
back.
and I have to add to this too. I'm sure most of you know that our superintendent and our treasurer are sharing the job of what we used to have a business manager. Okay, we're just like in a business, you know, you don't have the money and you just take on other jobs. And they have done it, and they have done an excellent job. And I have to get something else straight, and the fact that, first of all, the community, Mrs. Bedio, Mr. Knautschik, whenever you get elected, the community trusts that you're going to be there for the community, for the teachers, but most of all, number one, the students. Okay, we in turn have hired, not our or before, hired Dr. Jones and Mrs. Bullbrand, and so then we in turn trust that they know what they're doing. and we confer constantly with them. And, you know, there's that matter of trust that I think is missing in our whole United States right now, not only in Stow, Ohio. And it is so sad that we take apart, literally take apart people that are doing such a fantastic job without any basis for it. And I tell you, I mean, I really take that as an affront. I think we have the most fantastic group. I think our board has worked well. I think we've been a team. We agree to disagree many times. We don't just, you know, blatantly say, okay, that's okay. And, you know, whenever either of you get elected, you will see that it is not an easy job. And I really resent when people disrespect our administrators and the job that they do. For one of the lowest paid in Summit County.
You take,
Honestly, you know, I mean, let's beat them up, you know, let's
second largest.
The second largest.
second largest district, kick them off the top, you know. I wouldn't blame any one of them if they take off.
And
So-
Pat, I agree with what you're saying. And you know,
I know.
I've been to every board meeting
Yeah.
last year and a half, and I've never opened my mouth except once. I'm trying to put a renewal and a new letter at the same time.
Yeah, I
Because I-
remember that.
And you know, obviously I'm running, but I've never, if you ask me, I've not put anybody down this board, because that's not my problem. So
No,
I agree
and-
with what you're saying. I respect what you guys do. It's not an easy position. And if I'm lucky enough to get elected, I'm going to be sitting in your shoes. And
See what it's like.
I know, yeah. But,
To piggyback kind of what she's saying about administration, I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of the teachers, having the heartbeat of our teachers. The reason we've been excellent since '06 with cuts every single year is because they're stepping up to the plate each and every year with less material. And because of that, I mean, they have done an outstanding job. 37 less teachers in
I
roughly
agree
4 or
with
5 years.
I agree with you. If it wasn't for, and believe me, I'm not against the teachers. I believe that if it wasn't for the teachers, it's not the administrators, it's the teachers and the staff that make this school district excellent.
Where do they get their direction?
Yeah, who do you think leads them?
Pardon me?
Who do you think leads
I
them?
got to say this, being a part of both. I'm a part of Levy, I'm a part of middle school committee, I'm a part of many committees, and I'm a teacher. I work with them every single day right now. And I think it's great. I think what they've done has been outstanding. When we sat down to start talking about this and say, hey, why didn't this happen before? We said communication. What do? We went out there, had these community meetings. The community came back with 9 things. We answered their questions. Now we're coming back with more communication and doing the best that we can with the media outlets that we have, with websites, with papers, with talking, actual speaking to community members. I think it's been outstanding as well. I'm talking collectively from the top to our teachers and in the classroom. I got to be honest, I think it's outstanding what they've done.
And I would have to concur. And the negotiations alone say everything about the kind of team we are. The superintendent, myself, and board members sat on that team, and supervisors. It's an awesome team that we have in our entire district. For being the second largest in Summit County, that is really something to celebrate.
And we can't deny our classified, there's bus drivers and secretaries. I mean, who do you agree to the more to go to the kid? They see the secretary, they get on that bus, and yeah, we've had a fantastic team. The parade this summer, we walked behind the float for the bus drivers, and what a hoot. I never had so much fun as I did walking in that parade.
So I don't mean to keep on harping on that, so we can kind of get off that now. So
Screw it to the cross.
is there any other questions that we can,
I have a comment.
okay?
One of the teachers that my daughter has goes between 6 schools right now because of all the cuts that this district has made. And I don't see how she does it. In matter of fact, she can't even keep her stuff in one place because she travels between 6 schools.
She does it for the love of the kids.
Yes.
And I used to travel between 2 schools, and that was tough enough. If she's doing it with that many, hats off to her.
And I'll tell you who it is. It's Miss Hamilton.
She does the orchestra, which is she goes from she's at Hampton
second and third period.
She's at the high school, she's at Lakeview, and then she picked up 2 or 3 elementary schools this year because of all the cuts.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her schedule. I see her in Ms. Kempton. She does an outstanding job. But you're right, that's kind of what we're talking about. You just had a good example of what we're saying. So, no, again, are there any other questions?
Yeah, 90% of people in this room
Right.
for the left.
Right.
Yeah,
Preach to the choir.
I think we are appreciating.
We need
Get out there.
the other percent in the meeting. I can get.
But I think part of this 90%, we need to go out and talk to the people who are on the fence. It's good to have this information that we're providing so that now you can go talk to a neighbor who says, I don't know about this. Tell me something about it. Boom, you tell them about it.
I will say,
No.
I was gonna say, I think that's my biggest frustration is that I have several neighbors that their children are just either starting in kindergarten or maybe a year or 2 away from kindergarten. And not that they don't see the importance of it, but they haven't experienced it yet. So, you know, they come to us and ask, well, but why should I vote for this? I don't want my taxes to go up. And sometimes I'm like, I don't always know the best answer to say. Now, I have not visited any of these websites that are here. On those websites, are there printouts like a cheat sheet for me to
Yeah,
have to
district website,
carry around?
for the district meeting
The
page,
SOS, yeah.
SOS.
Okay. Because I think that's my biggest frustration. It's, you know, to me, it's obvious. Well, what do you mean?
To
Of course you
follow up,
have to vote for
literally, if you go to our website and click on SOS, that can answer, I would say, 95% of your questions. And if not, feel free to email me.
And that's, so along those lines, honestly, I really believe if you have any questions at all, you can contact any of these people or any board member.
Yes.
And I've never not gotten an answer. I'm sorry, Jerry,
I
I
didn't
get
say I
like,
didn't get an answer. When I had asked for documentation, I do not get anything back except we don't have records.
I think the one thing that I found is that you can make a public records request, but if they don't have that specific information on a piece of paper, number one, they don't have to provide it, they don't have to create it. They're not obligated to create a document just for you that summarizes what
All
you.
right, you asked a question and I'm going to tell these people. I put in a public records request. I requested names, salaries, benefits, or anything else that the board experienced in this loss. I wanted names because it's public record. I have no documents.
All of that information
So
is
tell me,
available on buckeyeinstitute.org.
Yeah.
I don't have names. I don't know who they're saying they did. I
It
wanted to
doesn't,
know.
she's entitled to ask it, but
It's a public record.
yeah.
It's a public record, and I have the information at home. If
I
you're
think,
saying to me, I saved $1, I'm gonna say to you, Mr. Barnes, where
but
did you
the
save this
the other
dollar?
thing we really want to understand is we're in a time now to reduce costs. And every public records request costs man-hours and dollars. And not that you should not ask for the information. God knows these guys have gotten it from me. And I guarantee you they've gotten a lot of it from me. But when you ask for them for a good reason, not just out of curiosity.
It wasn't, I wanted proof of.
Do you think, did you ask for the names because you thought they were lying, that they didn't really
No.
know these? Why would you need someone's name if they were
Look, I
lying?
have gone to the board meetings for 4 or 5 years now since I retired, and I've had the time to go because I'm not working. And I go watching the agenda, people they laid off and then people they hire. So when they tell me they've made all these cuts, I want to know who they cut.
My question is, why did you need their name? Do you not believe that they cut those? So you think that
It was a public record.
I understand that. I'm asking why did you want to know that?
I haven't actually. I don't know.
I understand it's a public record, I just want to know why.
Because it's not fair. You may not be opposed, you may not agree, and you have just as much right to speak and say what you think as anyone else in this room does, Mrs. Bailey. I apologize to you for that.
Well,
I really do.
If I could, I'd like to explain. We gave her the public records because what happens is when these positions, let's use the teachers, for example, there were 9 of them. They retired, so we did not fill their positions. But what we did was we moved teachers around so somebody didn't get ripped. But we had ripped letters because it's a domino effect. So we don't have
It's
a
9
name
positions.
next to each person. Because
Positions.
they were,
Right, I
they were a stack of all the red letters, that was the documentation.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to move on, we're gonna move back, come full circle, back to the levy.
So the number I keep hearing is $100,000, $16.77.
Yes.
Can we add the average house amount in Stow to that?
The
average
average is
house amount.
147,000.
Right, add that to it, so people,
But the first
Right.
25,000 of your house is not taxed.
The first 25,000 they need through my age. Sorry about that.
Well, because
But I mean, that affects
It affects-
Oh, yeah, that is a big perception.
it gives somebody else a
Yeah,
little.
What do you think?
We should think they're also for 300,000. We got that comment on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
So it costs the homeowner,
Okay.
for every 100,000, it will cost 16.77. The average home price in Stow is,
Well, you know what
With
we
that.
had on our
147,000.
website before, we had a calculator, so you could go and put your actual appraised value at the time.
Yeah, tell you specifically.
Well, they're saving money on the appraisal now too, most houses dropped down.
And that's the other
That's
point, I mean,
another
it's the sad part that our house
money they're
values,
not
it's not gonna be
spending.
sixteen
Taxes.
percent.
No, it won't.
Right,
Right, it will not.
right, it won't cost that much, because our tax burden, that's gonna go down. It's gonna be more like, yeah, 12 maybe?
Good point. In fact, I mentioned that today, and it's like, well, you know.
I just heard some chatter on some of the pages that, you know, well, my house is 300,000. Well, your house is about 10% of the city. That's not the average.
Lucky you.
Are there other, we have the room until 8:30, we have to have a little time to put the chairs back.
I did have another question.
By all means.
Earlier, we're talking about some of those committees and things that people can sign up for. How do we go about signing up? How do we tell other people, like kids that are not in the, families that don't have kids in the district, how do we let them
Go ahead and
know?
just email me their names and we're gonna give it to,
Okay, so if I know someone, I can just.
just email them, they send them their name, what, you know, if they have what they wanna do.
Chet, what's your email address if you want to?
Yeah, I give it to her, it's ST_Feldman.
They're all easy.
Yeah.
And they
Are you under the teacher?
Yes.
Gabby's gonna send me all those names and I can give it to Betty.